Okay, part two. This is part two because I wasn't able to finish the last one or talk, so I'm gonna continue this before I finish. Okay, so I'm drawing at farmers market. All right. And it's weird because when I first started drawing at farmers market in Chico, Thursday night market, like she was around. She was kind of helped me get started, or I don't know. I can't remember if she was there at the beginning, but she was there. I'm pretty sure she was, and like she didn't like it. She didn't like that I was drawing girls or whatever, and people, like really girls. She was jealous the whole time since the day I met her till the end. Like if I ever drew women, and so we'd fight about it, and she left and whatever, moved away, and so it was kind of weird. So for a few years I was still there drawing, 2009 to 2011. I don't know when this was. It's probably 2011, 2012 maybe even. Anyway, so I've been doing Butte College. We're teaching at Butte College and doing this thing, paying my bills, living at 42 Oak Drive, and wrecked my car, and we hung out, we didn't hang out. These people were getting in a situation. It was this, okay, so before that too, so this other girl, Erin, she was a teacher. She was an art school teacher at, I don't know, one of these Corning or something. Like, she was good looking. She was like, I don't know, I think she was like a year or so older than me. So she kind of had some wrinkles on her face, but she was hot and like good looking. But she was a white girl, and like she was looking to have kids and everything, and like wanting to have family, and so she kind of like grasped onto me real quick and like was like, hey, let's get married. And I had hung out with these other girls like Lisa, and I had hung out with this other girl, Karen, and so she was like, well, so this girl, but she was different because I know the drama was pretty high at this point, and I had played in bands or whatever, and like hung out with these other girls. Like, this one girl was married, and she was from like Utah, and like, or from LA, and her husband was, I didn't know she was married. I didn't believe her, and she kept coming over, and so there was a lot of stuff before this, during the breakup. And so this other girl came in my life, and she was like, hey, but she was kind of like overbearing, kind of in a way where she'd get sad if I showed up late, and she knew she's trying to make the relationship go too fast or whatever, call me on shit that I was like, I just met you, like, so it was kind of iffy, that relationship. But she was like, always taking me place. She was cool. She was like, she was cool in a way where she would want to plan something out, and like, and I don't know. At that time, I guess I wanted to. The teacher thing too. I was dealing with teacher stuff, and she was a teacher, so we had that in common. And anyway, so, but she had this guy boyfriend, and our ex-boyfriend, and he was like some bald dude that was like riding a bike. I don't know what it. He was like, I work at Yosemite, blah blah blah, and all this weird shit. So he was iffy, and so they put me in that situation too, where they were like doing the 1984 shit. I can't get into that relationship too much because it gets weird. But It was weird. Like I saw her one time, she totally, it was weird, man. Like fuck, dude, these people were hella weird. I don't know what to think about them all, but like I don't want to dog her yet too much because let me finish this story. So all this shit's happening, and um, it was 2012, yeah, because I was painting a mural at Chico State, and this 19-year-old girl, she was 19 at the time, and then when she first took my class in, I don't know, 20, by 2012, she was probably like 21 or something, I don't know. So this other girl, Julia, which is from Oroville, she went to Seventh-day Adventist Church and all that. So she was hanging around. She was like hanging around too, to helping me out with the mural and all this stuff. This other girl, Sarah Skinner, from B College as well, was helping out. And so it was like I said, all this stuff going on still. And so I'm drawing, and fucking Miros walks. I look up because I'm drawing this little girl. Like, you know, there's always these people, families and stuff. And this time I didn't know what all this drama was going on, really. Like, other than the stuff I was talking about, but all this other stuff I didn't know about. Like, so I'm drawing people. That's what I've always been doing. Like, drawing families, drawing just caricatures, you know, whatever. So, and dealing with my girlfriend's issues and falling in love and being other stuff, you know. This other stuff's on my radar. So I see my ex that I love the most in my whole life, like, with some dude. He looks like the other guy, the other white guy that she was with when I first met her. Like, she was with this other tall white dude. And, you know, they had some, like I said, there was a couple times he showed up and was like flirting with her, you know, like, and she was like, hey, you know. So I don't know. I mean, and I kind of noticed that. So, like I said, I think she liked white dudes. So I looked and I was like, and dude's some young dude. I don't know if he had a shirt on or what. He was just kind of like some jock dude, you know, some mountain climbing jock dude and he had her arm around her, and I'm like, and they were like standing at the end of the street, and they knew I was there, so it was like hella like on purpose, and I'm like in the middle of drawing like this little kid, and I'm like, you know, like being professional about it, and so I'm trying to, like, you know, not go beat up somebody in the middle of the street at farmer's market and all this stuff like that. But the guy, like, her and him walk past me. They walk all the way down the street. He has his bike or something, and they're walking right past. And she's just like fucking like acting like everything's cool and, you know, like la la la. And I'm just like, mother, like, she had to see me. There was no way she didn't see me. So she didn't look at me. She didn't like make eye contact or nothing. But so this guy had her sprung, and I was just like, you motherfucker. So I just kept, like, you know, doing what I was doing. And like I said, there was all this other stuff that happened after, in the middle of us breaking up and all this stuff. So I didn't feel like I'm gonna go like claim her and be, hey. But I was surprised that she was even in town, and I was surprised that, like, she would do that. You know, she would let that happen. But at the same time, like, all these other things happened that I guess I wasn't surprised. I just got to see the real version of this person, because it wasn't like something that, it was on purpose, you know, like, it was, they walked deliberately there like that, because they weren't looking at nothing, they weren't like shopping, they weren't like, all they did was like walk down the street with this like all ha ha ha, and or smiley, and like, and you could tell the guy was like, "Ew, this is my girl," or whatever. I don't know what the fuck. But I was just like, you know, like seriously, like that's the way you guys gonna do that shit, like, cause like I said, she'd come hang out while she was with the guy, so she was like, she didn't look familiar to me when she was doing that. Like I didn't recognize her personality, you know. So that was a side of her that I never saw. And when I so before that, like when she was, because she went back, I don't know what she when she was in San Francisco, she'd come back and we'd hang out, I'd go to her house or whatever, and she would come to my house, and so we still had relations, and I noticed things were changing because she was seeing other guys here and there, and there was another guy that called in the middle of the night, and like when we were hanging out, so we had like, so there was a lot of breakup stuff happening throughout the year or whatever, in the year before that, so that happened, and then so I'm with the girl Erin at the farmer's market. We're walking somewhere, and this girl's trying to be my girlfriend, and I'm kind of like, well, I don't know, I'm not ready. And she was like, oh, and so again she leads me somewhere, and then this other guy, so that guy is walking past, and and the guy's walking past, and I'm walking past with this other girl. And I'm like, get that tunnel vision again. I'm like, what? And like, folks, I'm like looking at her. I'm like, what the fuck? And I don't say nothing because like she's not looking at me and like not saying nothing. And they walk past like everything's all cool. So I was just like, wow, dude, this person's fucked up. Like, I don't know what was going on, because really that was the highest thing on my radar, other than my art stuff and my stuff with my son. Like that was like on par with all that. So even though I didn't go like chasing her around or whatever, that wasn't like part of my personality. I don't go chase people around. But this shit was raising some questions, like what the fuck, like questioning like the people that I'm around, and then questioning like what the fuck is this girl, like why are these people manipulating situations where they're making this shit, like what would make her ignore me like this? Like, is she like seriously like trying to piss me off, or is she like uncomfortable where she just ignores it? What she did, and that's how she really would play shit off. So it wasn't nothing new. That was part of her personality, but I was pissed off. Like I was like, why is she bringing this guy around me, or why are they trying to rub my nose in this shit? Like play these games, because then I'd see her and she would tell me stuff like, oh, like she'd want to hook up, like, and I was like, I love you, I can't hook up with you because I want you, like you gotta be with me, or so I just didn't have the heart to do that, to deal with that. Plus I was feeling guilty because she was in a situation with all these weird people that were manipulating shit. So, but she had her family and stuff around, so I don't know, like, anyway, so, oh man, it was hella weird. So she tells me this guy comes by, it was a couch surfer guy, which she came from Europe, and she was all into this couch surfing shit because she had done it. She would call me from Europe and tell me some shit. I'd write angry songs about her, but I still loved her, and so she was all into the fucking rock climbing, couch surfing, and jumping out of airplanes and all this fucking high adrenaline shit. So going to Amsterdam and all this weird shit, like So I was like, okay. And then I saw pictures of like after she came from Europe, like fucking riding camels and fucking the desert and fucking going to fucking like Italy and like it was crazy. I was like, what the fuck? Like this chick like traveled everywhere around the world, like on camels and shit. Like the fuck. So I was like tripping, like, wow, dude, this girl like really did her thing. I don't know what she like, how the hell you do that, but you know, I was proud of her. I was like, cool, you know, fuck yeah, do it. But you know, making her a wife and after that was kind of like, oh, shit's not working out. So anyway, so we were going our separate ways, and but she came around a few times, and she would tell me like, I think the dude name was Darren or something. So this dude, I guess he was a little younger than her or something, and which was weird because she was younger than me. So like for her to like, I don't know, maybe she felt like, I don't know what the situation was, but I guess it was these other guys before him that you know, Mexican dudes and stuff that they tried to throw in the mix, and so she didn't go for any of those guys, and then I guess they needed a tall white dude, so they threw the tall white dude in. So they go, well, tall white dude goes in, and he's a fucking couch surfer, kind of exactly what she was missing. Like that's what she wanted, adventure. She had the high adrenaline rush going. So they sent her exactly what she wanted, you know, and so the guy is supposed to be acts like me. He's like puts in the phone like your second golden heart, and like she tells me this. I'm like, second golden heart? She's like, oh, he put that in my phone. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And I guess the guy was jealous of me or whatever too, and whatever the situation was. And so she's telling me this shit, and then what else? And so I guess the guy lives in Seattle. So the guy like has his family in Seattle, and she's supposed to be. So he's like a rock climber that doesn't do shit. So some dude that doesn't work and shit. So kind of like a version of me, like, because you know she was a caretaker, you know, and so they kind of like get your character profile and you know kind of see what somebody likes and stuff. So she obviously liked to take care of her guy. She wanted to be the breadwinner and stuff. So you know, that's kind of, she wanted, at the time after Europe, she was like, oh, I like guys opening doors for me. But she was at the beginning, was like, oh, woman's lib and all this stuff. So when we were together, she was kind of taking that role, you know, like, but at the time she was also mad about it. She was like, oh, why do I always have to, you know, be responsible and shit? Because she was artistic as well. So, but when we were together, she ended up not being artistic. So I think that was what she was yearning for when we broke up, to be more herself. And so that's why I was like, yeah, you know, cool, you know, be your full self. That's best for everybody. And so when she got with this guy, the guy was like, you know, I guess she lived with this other fat white dude that was helping her paying rent, and she was trying to fix up this house that she got given, and then her other sister was like trying to like move in on the property too and all this stuff. So they had family stuff going on with them, and then I was still part of, like, I'd go see her here and there and like kind of get the lowdown of stuff. And so supposedly they broke up, and she was like, hey, you know, I'm leaving to San Francisco, why don't you come visit me, blah blah blah. And I never did, but I was supposed to. And then the guy went over there and then got her pregnant or whatever, I don't know. So she tells me she's pregnant, or they're together again. So so in the middle of all this, like, she tells me like, hey, let's get back together, blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, let's get back together. So I'm like all happy, like, you know. And then she ends up back with the dude, and I'm like, well, whatever. So the dude's a couch surfer dude. Again, they have this other white dude that stays in the house, and they end up being buddies, and they end up going rock climbing together. And then she's like, hey, you know, I'm cleaning up after all these guys all the time, and you know, I'm like the mother, and you know, they're all buddies, and he's such a, like, everybody ends up being his friend and stuff. And so they put her in this psychological place where she's the mother again. And so the guy's like, so they play off that, and then so I guess she brought him to the family, and they were like, oh, the dad was like, oh, white dude with that, and then they end up being okay because they get along, and they, guys staying on the couch or whatever. So anyway, so they end up together, and I see her in there and blah blah blah, and she comes, wants to hang out, and I kind of shy away because I'm pretty upset about it, and then so yeah, so she ends up pregnant and all this stuff, and it's kind of that story really. Like, there's nothing much more to that, but other than kind of like them kind of playing head games with her. So I don't know what their situation is, but they end up having 2 kids. So I'm hanging out with this other girl, Julia, and then and I call her, and she's like, hey, I moved on, I have another kid, we're having a second kid. And I'm like, all right. So I kind of stopped feeling guilty about it. I stopped feeling like emotional about, because I think there was some guilt going on about that I let her down or something, or if she's gonna be okay or whatever. But kind of stopped. That kind of ended, and which brings us to today. So there is this weird thing where, oh yeah, okay, so I'm in Cohasset, right? In 2013 or 14, and my brother gets his property with his wife and the kids, and my dad's living on the second house. So this girl Margaret, she trains horses. She's a horse trainer. That's what she does for a living, and she's a white lady, kind of like rowdy, kind of like very blunt, and yeah, and so she's training my niece Callista, and she's like, so her surrogate mom, or the mother, that the lady that took her in, is supposedly like is sick, and they're caretaking for her, and they get a house free rent. So they're getting this house for free rent, and my dad's over there at the second house. And so after I leave Sarah's house, which all this other shit happened over Sarah's, but it was just like their drama. And then obviously they threw me in the mix and like, put me under, tried to get me in this place where she's flirting with me and the husband's there and all this weird shit, which I didn't go for any of that. I didn't love her anymore. I care about her, think she's nice, like, care about everybody. If you see the good side of them, they're who they are. But I didn't care for her like that at all anymore. And she's good looking, but once something dies, it dies. It died in me, so there was I would never ever want to, there's no attraction to me towards her like that. So they were trying to get me in that place where they had me try to steal her away from fucking Brian and make me a bad guy or something. So that wasn't happening. I was trying, I actually helped out with Isaiah losing weight and all that stuff. So there was some positive things with that situation. So I don't know what their whole agenda was, but I ended up leaving, going over there. So my brother was there, and he's all mad or whatever about his life or whatever, and then my dad's there, and my mom's living in Orville with her husband Terry. And while I'm living there, supposedly there's some weed growers and the neighbors, some white dudes with Sierra Nevada, drinking Sierra Nevadas and beer, and they're talking about like wondering if we're Mexican gang members or something. So they give, this is weird, and the people that lived there before me was some tweaker dude that, like, I don't know what they were doing before I got there. So I was there paying some rent, even with these weird circumstances, and continuing my drama. So I don't talk to this other girl. She's already has a kid and everything. I'm in the mountains. I get all my paintings. I'm painting now. I'm finishing up some computer stuff. My son barely comes visit. He's like, starts drinking and partying and doing his own thing. And like his mom's condoning it, and his stepdad, they get a divorce and they're going through it. So she gets another place up in Paradise, like another house, like a nice house. I don't know, like a big house, and it wasn't as big as the first one, but it was like nicer. It was all renovated, and I don't know what their whole deal was, but so I guess the guy wasn't living there anymore, and Isaiah's like trying to stay in the room, thinking, doing his thing, and like, or trying to go to his friends and getting all weird on them, and so I don't know what the hell, supposedly like did some mushrooms and LSD and shit that I didn't know till like a few years later. But so I'm kind of concerned for him because I'm still dealing with trying to raise him, and so I'm in Cohasset. I stopped working for Butte after a little while, and still doing murals and stuff, and I'm not doing farmers market or anything. So I forget. I don't know if I was living off of, again, workman's comp or not, and whatever. So paying my rent here and there, but kind of just staying on the mountain painting and stuff. So all this other stuff starts happening. So during this time, this is why I'm talking about this, is because during this time, like, I'm figuring out like all the shit that people were trying to say who I am and all this stuff. Because right before that, I was working at Butte, I was doing all this stuff. They had me teach some classes at some different schools. So they had me teach at Isaiah's old school, which was not Citrus, but some middle school, I forget what it's called. And then art class. So I'm teaching like art class like 3 days a week. And I don't even want to do that. I'm already done with teaching. I'm like already like, fuck, I got to do my own shit. But the money sounded good. I was already doing Butte. So I was like, well, I'll teach Butte and these 3 day a week classes, and I'll get more money to buy a car. So I'm still driving my dad's old car, like, and fucking never happens, man. I've never make enough money to do all this stuff. So, but I start realizing that like I'm getting put in this place because there's this other guy named Justin. He's an old friend from Butte. He's a drawer guy, and there's some issues with that, and I'm kind of starting to like see some like little comments here and there, and I'm like, what the fuck? And this girl Julia's hanging out, and these other girls, like other girl, and like all these people like coming around. So it's a whirlwind, a lot of stuff happening, and so I'm like already like disengaged. I don't care. I just want to do my art. I'm trying to get to this. I'm figuring all this other esoteric shit out, like the stuff that's happening, like surreal stuff that's happening. That's not has to do with the local issues. I'm dealing with the mourning of the girl I loved. Not ever getting back together with her, and dealing with my son not hanging out with his stepdad and like his mom and like weird shit, dude. Like I'm like getting everything taken away from me, like all my family, and my family's acting weird where I'm at, or they're going through stuff, not really acting weird yet, but they're going through stuff, and so I'm just like working on my art. And some of the stuff that I think that's going on is I see on TV and on the news, like, so the guys that come bring in my cable, like I needed internet or whatever, which didn't really never work, but so the guy like got weird, like I don't know what, if they just had access to my shit again. So I'm already know some shit's going on, but I don't know exactly what's going on because I had just left Sarah, so I knew some shit was going on. I know I was like being surveillanced and shit, or I don't know what, but I don't know why. So I'm trying to figure it out. And then so some other issues. So I see some shit on the news. One of them was like the racial shit and the marijuana shit that I saw is continuing. So what I see is like on the news is this firefighter. Okay, so one of them was like the sheriff guy or something, or some police task force person or whatever, gets busted in Sacramento or somewhere in the Bay Area, where he had a bunch of child porn shit, and like it was selling it, and he got busted by the detectives in the Bay. So, which was kind of close to Sacramento, but not all the way there. So I don't know where exactly. I forget where it was exactly, but it was on the news, and it wasn't. They didn't make a big old deal out of it, but I saw it, and it was there. It looked real. I mean, they didn't like show the guy's face and shit. So a lot of this stuff was happening, and this was like during like they were Jared from Subway and shit. All that stuff started happening on Facebook, and so I was like, damn, like this shit's, it's good, but I was like, fuck. So, because it was local people. So the guy got busted. Some fucking country police guy. So I'm like, wow, this is good. Fucking finally, they're getting the people that are doing shit. And so I'm like, because before that was a guy from Oroville that was working at the hospital that was like stealing women or whatever. So that shit was on the news because I knew a family friend, kind of like family, she worked in Oroville, and they would say stuff on Facebook. And so the guy, some white dude that got busted, and like, so some shit's, I see some bust going on. I was like, oh. So then there was another one, this fire guy, and the guy's like supposedly like a fire chief guy that trained firefighters, and he like looked hella weird. I don't know, and I don't know if this is false flags or whatever, but this is shit that I just saw on the news. So the guy's like a firefighter trainer guy, and he gets busted for having some fucking fucked up shit. And this is shit I just seen on Action News and stuff. So this is not like, or on Facebook and then Action News at the same time. So local news. And so the dude like gets busted for the same shit, like not just, but I think making it, because they said he was in some videos and all the stuff like that. So it's something about the locker room and firefighters, and he was the guy and he got busted and blah blah blah. So I'm like, whoa, that's weird shit. Like, so it's like, Butte County shit. So I'm like, okay. And then and before that, that girl Erin took me to like Shasta County, and like, so I was like tripping out on Shasta County stuff too, and they were like trying to get me to do Native American stuff. They're like thinking that I'm like fucking have ESP, and like all kinds of shit was like getting in the mix. Like a lot of, they were fucking with me on Facebook, like weird shit on Facebook. So I was just like, my family was getting weird. So I was just like, not my immediate family, but my family from different places and shit. So I'm just like, man, what the fuck? And I mean, it goes on and on, like through the stuff at Butte College. Like there was people at Butte College that were like, man, I'm gonna have to go into that next. But this, okay, so let me stay. So the firefighter people, and then what else? And then also on the news, I see in Sacramento, there's this, and before this, I was like talking about like the Native American stuff and the stuff that was like the like Illuminati shit, like the people that were doing like Freemason stuff, that, and supposedly in the Chico graveyard, they have like old shit like fucking Bidwell shit, like where they had slaves and they killed Indians, and they have like a lot of history of like this Freemason devil worshipping stuff. And when I first moved over here, they were talking about that stuff a lot. Like they got the tweaker people, the white people that are tweakers, and the whole Aryan Brotherhood stuff going on. But they have jails and they got devil worshipping shit going on. So like, I don't know what exactly. It's just one of those country places that shit was here for a long time. They have inbred shit happening here. So I don't know. So there's a history of some fucking gold mining weird shit for a long time. Because there's more stuff than this that I'm not talking about yet. Like, not personally that I know, but it's all hearsay, so I don't know. Stuff, like I said, I've seen on the news. So this guy, okay, so that happens, and then, okay, so Sacramento. In Sacramento, there's this fucking shit that's happening with, like, this lady takes her baby in the middle of a field and fucking tries to sacrifice the baby and shit. Like, weird shit. Like, there was 3 or 4 of this incidents in Sacramento where they're, like, trying to sacrifice kids and shit, or they've, you know, fucking, like, playgrounds, they have weird shit, like tweaker people that were trying to kill their kids and do weird sacrificing shit in Sacramento. So I'm just like, okay, like, this is weird shit. Like, it just hit 2012 and all these, like, weird esoteric shit's happening and people were going crazy. So you kind of understand what the fuck I'm, like, looking at and thinking. And, you know, after all the stuff I dealt with in Butte County, and, you know, like, I start seeing all this stuff too, and I'm like, fuck, dude, are these guys, like, trying to make me, investigating me for this shit? Like, are they, you know, like, so I'm tripping. I don't know about false flags at the time, so I don't know if it was fake or not. Like the Boston Marathon, I don't know if that was real or not, you know, whatever. So they put these 2 brothers that were, like, killing people, and I'm like, fuck, dude, like, so I'm feeling like he's, like, weird about it, because I'm like, do people think I'm a terrorist, or do they think I'm gonna do fucking Boston bombing? And that guy with the Joker, he was a Joker in the fucking theater and started shooting people and all weird shit. And I'm like, so I'm, like, tripping out on people and the culture in general, let alone, like, living in Cohasset. And supposedly this weed stuff's going on, and supposedly, like, there was this. So when I go see Isaiah, like, they have, like, these little kids almost, like, supposedly saying they're getting kidnapped or trying to get somebody try to steal them, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so I'm tripping out on the locals, on the Paradise people. Like, are they fucking, like, trying to set me up more? So I'm, like, pissed off, and people were believing it, and I'm like, and all this other shit's happening on the main news. There's Cosby and fucking all this shit, and I'm like, fuck, dude, are these people, like, trying to throw me in this fucking, are they, like, aiming at me? Like, what the fuck's going on? Let alone, like, not only is life fucking tough enough already, like, okay, so then there's another, so the Fight Club thing. So Seward, before that, when I was living at Sarah's house, like, was, like, talking about, so he takes me to this one place where, like, in the middle of the night, he's like, hey, over here. So I'm, like, following him, because we went to the tavern, King's Tavern, a couple times, and he's, like, talking to this white dude that's, like, he's trying to make it like this guy's, like, the king of the fucking racist people or something. And he's like, oh, we'll make our own little group, or it's like talking shit in front of the, I'm like, and I don't believe this dude to begin with. So supposedly this other guy, Lenny, that worked with Seward, they, like, ended up, after, like, we split up and we stopped hanging out or whatever, like, they started a band, him and Lenny and this other girl, this young girl, and she was, like, the singer or something, which was kind of weird. I mean, it's good. I was glad for him, but I didn't really know. But it was, like, techno stuff. I didn't like techno to begin with. But so supposedly I hung out with this other girl named Jennifer, and she ended up with Lenny. And so he was, like, all mad at me because that was his new wife, girlfriend, or whatever. She worked at the hospital or something, and so they ended, I don't know if they were tweaking or what, but he ended up, like, supposedly talking shit, and, like, people were saying he was the one talking shit about me or whatever. But him and Seward were hanging out, so I'm just like, what the fuck, like, and he was a computer guy, so I was like, dude, like, what the hell? And Seward started getting weird on me, so I was just like, what? And So he's bringing me around like weird people where they're like, I don't know, man. It was just weird. All that. I can't get into all of it right now, but so I'm like, so the Fight Club thing. There's supposed to be like some people in paradise that go to the Fight Club where they like go, like ex-soldiers and fucking military, and they're like get their like fucking kind of like Mad Max where they have their little cars and shit, and they go in the mountains and they all like do Fight Club and get drunk or whatever. Because this one bass player guy that was like saying something about it where he got punched in the nose. He was like a nice guy and he got punched in the nose. And so I'm just hearing little things here and there, and I'm like, fuck, dude, like what the hell? So what I'm getting is like the firefighters are part of like the weed thing too. You know, obviously like these locals are just people. Like they hire firefighters like normal. Like when it's fire season, they just hire anybody or whatever, and they go through a program and they help fight fires or whatever. And at this time, there's a lot of fires, so like, and the reason is because the guy, Ramona Sky guy, the guy Cody, his roommate was a firefighter guy or whatever, and like all this weird shit. So all that shit was happening too. So the white people going crazy with their guns and firefighters and Fight Club and all this weird shit, and all the homeless people, and then the Mexicans, like they're like asking me about Mexican shit, and they're like, so supposedly some people in Cohasset, when I was living in Cohasset, they had a camp over there somehow, property, and they fucking busted these people with machine guns and all this stuff and all this weed and blah blah blah, and supposedly they're a Mexican cartel or whatever, I don't know. So there's all this shit happening, right? So I'm just not like making shit up. This is like real shit that's happening. It's not seriously connected to me, but I don't know, people are you know, they're coming up to me and acting like asking me questions like I know something or I'm part of it or some weird shit. So I'm like, what the fuck? And so I'm pretty sure there was this girl that like supposedly showed up in town and was like, oh, I was drugged for weeks or whatever. I don't know how long. And she was like, oh, you know. And so I'm thinking like, fuck, dude, are they like trying to... So I'm just like hella paranoid and shit. And I'm like, are these guys like trying to... Because they already did some shit to me, like where they, you know, some girl said I raped her and fucking like, and I'm like, call her on it. I'm like, what the fuck? Does I heard the fucking person saying this shit? Oh, she's like, oh no, I didn't mean that. I'm sorry that you even heard. Like, fuck, dude, what the fuck? So I'm already paranoid and pissed off about some shit, and it has to do with soldier people, like military shit, and so I'm like tripping out on everybody. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like my own family and like everybody's. So I'm like, I mean, this is all through a year, so it's not like all, but it felt like during the years of class, it was like, the fuck, like I said, there was all this shit happening on the news too, so, let alone Facebook and all this shit. So yeah, so all this stuff, then the guy wants to fight me over in the U-Bar and like trying to give me money and shit, so then I find out that they're trying to make me out to be a gay dude or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all fucked up, dude. And I'm losing the girl that I loved. All this shit. My son's fucking going crazy and fucking supposedly getting drunk and drugs and all this weird shit. So no matter what was happening, I was tripping out on it because it was part of my life, you know. And so yeah, so that's all on the radar. And then let alone Dawn fucking comes around and it gets weird on me too, like talking about white supremacist shit and like some weird shit. I don't know what he was talking about, but it was just everybody, dude. Like I can't even like. So it doesn't matter, like why everybody did everything. It just matters that it happened, and it fucking fucked with my reality, you know. I mean, even if it's not all the way real, it's like there's some stuff that's like, if people act a certain way, it's real even if it's just perception, it's real. If people treat you a certain way, if you get treated negatively, if you get people give you negative energy and yell at you or whatever, like, you're still getting affected. It affects you negatively, like depression and all that stuff, like unhappiness and all that stuff, you know. So mental shit. It was a mental warfare and spiritual warfare, and so I lived through it. And then, let alone going after those years, going to like the Bay Area, that just continued. But so this part was pretty bad, and then I mean, it goes on and on. But so that was kind of the gist of living in Cohasset, and the drama that I was going through, the people that I had met, known, and I mean, it goes on. But just to give an understanding of how deep it got. And it got a little deeper too, because it felt like my life was being threatened. These crazy veteran white old dudes were like come around, and I was putting gas and shit over in the Bay Area, like, and like get all like look at me weird and shit, and like they wanted to assassinate me or something. So it was like, so you know what I mean? Like, even if they weren't, it still felt like they might want to. So with all the lies and the fucking weird shit going on, like, I felt pretty threatened. I was on like, and I realized like there's psychological shit. So like, military and people can do that shit. Like, it's like torture. So if you're on a heightened sense of awareness when you feel your life is threatened or whatever, when people are trying to get you, like, you can only live like that for so long, like, until you start breaking down. You know, that's where like they do prisoners, you know, where they torture, you know. So they were doing that as a group, as whatever group it was, whether it was the actual authorities or whatever, or just like gangs or whatever, like white people gangs, KKK, whatever, whoever was doing it, they were doing it. They were putting misinformation out on me and all this weird shit. So I was on a heightened sense of like, damn, and you're psychologically can only take that for so long. You can't be in danger for, you know, you can only handle that danger mentally for. And then when I got to the Bay Area and stuff, then it was also sleep deprivation and all this weird shit. So, and then, you know, feeling that everybody turned on you, your own family, questioning you, acting stupid with you. So there's a lot of shit. So, you know, everybody wants to act cool, like everything's great and we're all happy and everything's, forget everything. But, you know, that's not, it can't be. I'm not the only one that has to learn through this situation. Like, can't do that to people. Like, what the hell, dude? Like, so you lose all your morals. Like they can judge me. People can judge me and say this and that. But the reality is, all the shit that they thrown on me, but that wasn't my shit. You know, I'm not gonna take it. I'm not gonna say, okay, you guys can fucking shit on me and I'll just like act like everything's okay. So no, like, so this is my story, and for all the people that I know are known, are all the people that live in America in this time, and that's part of what happened. And that's it. I mean, it's gonna keep going on. Humanity doesn't seem like it wants to learn any lessons. It's gonna keep doing what it's doing. Like, people are still gonna keep tweaking and doing math. Like, am I gonna change that? No, but it's fucking happening, you know. Like, but as a group, as a fucking society and shit, like, people need to fucking fix that shit, because meth is bad, and shit's not gonna get better because people are letting that shit happen. Like, anyway, that's all I got to say for now. I gotta go do shit.